Hello everyone, I'm Nupur and I work with UNICEF at its New York headquarters. Here, I lead UNICEF's global work on social protection in humanitarian and fragile contexts, developing policies, guidance, and tools to enable UNICEF and other partner agencies to effectively support governments in developing and strengthening shock-responsive social protection systems. I'm here with you today to share an innovative tool that can significantly improve your efforts to operationalize the 4 priority actions outlined in the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction. In doing so, I will also share a video case study from a country where this tool has been used effectively. Every year, millions of women, men, boys, and girls are impacted by humanitarian crises. Impacted to the extent that for many households, it becomes extremely difficult to come back to a normal life. This is particularly serious for children who rarely get a second chance in life. It is therefore critical to put a mechanism in place that supports people when they need it the most. Social protection can be that mechanism. It is a set of policies and programs that aim to prevent and protect all people against poverty, vulnerability, and social exclusion. In other words, social protection has deep relevance for climate change and adaptation, disaster risk reduction, and disaster response. It can not only support women, men, boys, and girls to deal with the impacts of a humanitarian crisis, but also when designed well, social protection can prevent shocks from transforming into humanitarian crises in the first place. And where needed, they can help households and communities to adapt to changing weather patterns and build resilience. However, not all social protection systems are by default designed and implemented to respond to covariate shocks. This can be easily fixed and requires social protection and disaster risk management stakeholders to work together to support the governments in strengthening their social protection systems. UNICEF has designed a tool that brings the government and its partners together to assess the gaps and opportunities in the social protection system and to develop a roadmap to incrementally strengthen shock responsiveness of social protection systems over a period of time. It has been used in more than 10 countries across the world with very positive outcomes, and one of them is Armenia.
Back in 2017, Armenia was one of the 2 countries, together with Tajikistan in Europe and Central Asia region, that piloted the tool on readiness of social protection systems for shock response. Together with the government and partners, we examined the strengths and weaknesses of the social protection and disaster management systems. Gaps included lack of coordination between the 2 sectors, lack of mechanisms for rapid response and beneficiary enrollment, and lack of capacities for emergency and disaster preparedness. Opportunities included well-developed legal frameworks, established cash transfer programs, and tested programs for localized disasters and others. These findings allowed us to deliver and design program areas for furthering shock-responsive social protection in Armenia, which were then included in the work plans together with the government. Since then, UNICEF social policy and DRR teams worked together to sensitize staff and partners on SRSP. We had a knowledge exchange in Nepal and established a cash coordination working group within the UN country team. However, despite this commitment, government prioritization of SRSP remained relatively low. And then, in 2020, the dual crisis hit Armenia. First COVID-19, then the conflict, clearly showing the need to rethink social protection approaches during shocks, considering the impact on families and children. Immediately, UNICEF was able to share assessment findings with the government to inform rollout of emergency cash transfer programs, including horizontal and vertical expansion. UNICEF also used the established delivery channels and procedures to provide emergency cash top-up to children with disabilities enrolled in the Family Benefit Scheme. Later, jointly with the government, within the Cash Coordination Working Group, we developed standard framework agreements, SOPs, beneficiary data sharing protocols, all aligned with the strengths of the national social protection system. This approach proved to be efficient and timely. I want to highlight the value of preparedness, planning, and building the capacities of social protection and DRM actors within wider reform processes and aligned to the humanitarian development nexus. That is why we are particularly proud that the first ever labor and social protection strategy for Armenia has strengthening of the shock responsiveness of the social protection system at its heart, including for emergency response and during various disasters.
The Social Protection System Readiness Assessment Tool is a simple Excel-based tool that follows a traffic lights system to analyze critical information as it is being collected. It comprises 6 modules that focus on specific themes or topics related to the readiness or preparedness of social protection system in the country. Each module includes a set of questions to gather information and draw conclusions on its preparedness or readiness. Module 1 sets the scene and informs the direction and scope of the overall assessment. Module 2 provides critical high-level information on the broader country context and wider programming that underpins the rest of the assessment and analysis, such as poverty analysis, vulnerability to disasters, forced displacement, etc. Module 3 maps and analyzes the policy and legislative framework for social protection and disaster management, the mechanisms to finance temporary and longer-term social protection measures, and the interministerial or departmental coordination system, along with coordination between the center and the local governments and authorities. Module 4 provides a detailed assessment of the readiness of the design features of specific social protection programs that have the potential to support a larger number of people in managing disaster risks. It specifically looks at the objectives, the targeting, the comprehensiveness of support, the frequency, and the timing of that support. Module 5 takes this forward and provides a detailed assessment of the readiness of the administrative processes and operational systems that have been set up to deliver specific social protection programs. The last module, that is Module 6, is a self-assessment of the agency's own readiness to support the scale-up of social protection systems in response to shocks and disasters. Secondary literature and key informant interviews are conducted to collect and analyze information for each module. Information from all these modules is then synthesized and utilized to determine potential options for leveraging social protection system for disaster response and to accordingly develop a roadmap to prepare the system. The entire process of planning, information collection, and analysis takes typically about 3 to 4 weeks and is conducted in a participatory and coordinated manner with all the stakeholders. Unfortunately, DRR and social protection system strengthening efforts have until recently tended to run parallel to each other. It is time now for the 2 streams of work to complement and reinforce each other if we are to make a meaningful impact in the lives of women, men, boys, and girls living in crisis-prone areas. The Social Protection System Readiness Assessment Tool creates a unique opportunity for stakeholders from both these streams of work to collaborate on a common agenda. As a key global stakeholder on DRR and social protection, UNICEF is pleased to create and facilitate this process in countries. On behalf of UNICEF, I invite you to download the tool along with its accompanying user guide and feel free to reach out to me and my colleagues to discuss its application. Thank you.